Unknown creatures start mutating human geologists who go there to conduct a mining project, under the ocean's depth. What will happen to them? Will they survive? Hi, welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a sci-fi/horror movie called Leviathan from 1989. Spoilers alert. Watch out and take care. The beginning shows a group of miners working in the seafloor depths, extracting various precious metals. They wear big and heavy diving suits for the labor. Meanwhile, the leader of the group, whose name's Beck, is waiting at the base. He's in charge of controlling what the divers are doing and taking action in case of an emergency. As a matter of fact, an emergency occurs. Jack, one of the divers, begins to run out of air. Beck orders everyone to return to the base, but Jack is so desperate that is barely able to think and move. So, his co-workers make their best to save Jack's life. Meanwhile, Beck contacts the doctor. However, he never appears whatsoever. It seems that Jack won't make it safe, but just when he was about to fully run out of air, he reaches the station. Now that the danger is gone, the workers gather around the table. One of them, known as Six-Pack, makes fun of Jack's event. This enrages Jack, who wants to hit Six-Pack with all his might. When Beck appears, he tells everyone that he'll reprimand the doctor for being absent during an excursion. He also proposes everyone to maintain the ship before finishing the mission, so as to have a day off. This, of course, pleases the group. Not long after that, Beck faces the doctor in front of the crew. He explains how Jack almost lost his life, and everyone saved him just by a second. The miners feel a bit more relaxed knowing that Beck is on their side. The miners, then, begin the maintenance of the ship. One of them, called Willie, is checking on the diving suits. However, when she opens one of the suits up, she discovers a huge underwater spider, and she gets scared. It turns out that Six-Pack found the arachnid when mining. He thought it was a great idea to pick it up with him and use it to scare someone. The spider almost runs away, but Willie stops it with a stick. Later on, Willie uses the spider to pay Six-Pack back. She hides the spider under Six-Pack's pillow. So, when Six-Pack goes to sleep, he puts his hand under the pillow and feels a creepy and wet material. It takes a few seconds for Six-Pack to discover it was the horrible spider. Willie freaks out, then gets mad at Willie. Beck interrupts the arguing and orders the two to go back to Pole C duty. The two complain, but there's nothing they can do about it. Hours pass by and the two are about to finish their duty. However, Willie notices that Six-Pack is missing. He got the diving suit's cable stuck in a rock, causing him to fall into a ditch. Beck and the rest try to contact Six-Pack with their radios, but to no avail. If Six-Pack doesn't appear, he will run out of air too. Willie, then, decides to go after him. The woman can't believe her eyes when she finds a colossal ship that has sunk seemingly a long, long time ago. Beck, the doctor, and the rest of the crew see the sunken ship through the camera of the suit. Everyone notices that the name of the boat is in Russian. Luckily, the doctor knows several languages, including Russian. So, he discovers that the ship's name was Leviathan. One of the crew members also discovers that the ship is still on duty. To be more precise, the computer data states that the Leviathan is still working perfectly, which would be impossible since the ship is completely destroyed. What do you think has happened? It's too much of a mystery, so Willie considers it a good idea to enter the ship and see what she finds out. Not to mention, Willie denies returning to the base until she finds Six-Pack. Finally, Willie finds Six-Pack. He was in a room full of skeletons, which most probably belonged to the ex-members of the Russian crew. Also, Six-Pack is holding a big box. What could it contain? The two miners return safely to the base. There, everyone takes a look at what the box was holding inside. Beck finds a videotape that belonged to the Leviathan's captain. Meanwhile, Six-Pack finds a canteen that probably contains alcohol. So, he secretly keeps it for himself and no one else. The rest of the miners discover a bottle of vodka, so they get excited and want to serve themselves some shots. However, Beck takes it away with him. Although he's not thinking to drink it himself, he guards it inside a safe. Beck and the doctor take a look at the tape's content. There, we find the Russian captain of the Leviathan. He's talking to the camera, confessing that there has been an epidemic breakout among the crew. After that, the doctor takes a closer look at the pictures of the Leviathan. He notices a big hole in one of the ship's sides. This hole, though, is special. The doctor deduces that it was caused on purpose. In other words, another ship or submarine has probably shot a torpedo at the Leviathan and sunk it with the crew. Beck, however, doesn't buy the theory so easily. While Beck and the doctor were analyzing everything, the other miners sneaked into Beck's room to take the vodka with them. They opened the safe successfully after finding the safe's code word inside one of Beck's documents. Unfortunately for them, as soon as they take the shots, they discover something's wrong. It turns out that Beck replaced the vodka with water, believing that the miners would try to steal the alcohol away. Indeed, Beck was right. Fortunately for Six-Pack, he has the canteen with him. He heads to his bed and drinks the vodka. He also shares some of it with Bao, one of the crew members. The next day, Six-Pack wakes up sick. He's feeling like having a hangover, but 100 times worse. When the doctor takes a look at Six-Pack's back, he discovers a series of spots that seem unnatural. The doctor is afraid that Six-Pack has a virus of some kind, and that the rest of the crew could get sick as well. Beck heads back to his room and contacts his superior. The superior, however, doesn't provide too much help. She explains that they cannot evacuate the ship before the final 24 hours. Beck has no other choice but to find a plan B. Meanwhile, the doctor is analyzing a Six-Pack skin sample. He wants to find out what's the threat behind this possible virus. Unfortunately, the computer database cannot provide a clear answer regarding the nature of the phenomena. Moments later, the doctor contacts Beck and asks him to meet him at the infirmary. When Beck arrives, the doctor makes him wear a mask and reach for Six-Pack. Sadly, Six-Pack has passed away. Not to mention, the spots on Six-Pack's back have gotten bigger. To make matters worse, the doctor cannot understand what the illness or virus consists of. The best solution, then, is to take a look at every crew member and make sure that everyone's in good health condition. After all, the doctor is not 100% sure whether this thing is contagious or not. The doctor also advises Beck not to tell anyone about Six-Pack's death, in order to avoid mass hysteria or panic among the members. The doctor checks each individual, and just before the last patient, Beck and the doctor meet with their superior. Beck insists on an urgent evacuation, but the superior advises against it. Naturally, there's an approaching hurricane in the nearby area. So, the woman suggests waiting for 12 hours. It is a lot of time. Will the crewmates survive? Not long after that, Bao begins to feel bad, just like Six-Pack did. Willie and another crewmate find her and lead her to the doctor's office. Jones, the other crewmate, goes to check on Six-Pack, unaware that he has passed away some hours ago. He speaks to Six-Pack as if he were still alive, but suddenly Six-Pack's body moves beneath the sheets. Needless to say, this would be impossible considering that Six-Pack was diagnostically dead. What has happened, then? Willie and the crewmate finally leave Bao alone, but the woman gets up to wash her face and realizes that her hair is falling out. As she approaches Six-Pack's bed, she notices that his arm has been cut open and is oozing a repulsive liquid. Unfortunately, when the rest finds Bao, she has committed suicide in the shower. Beck and the doctor have no other choice but to tell the crewmates about their situation. Things get stranger when there's a sound coming from the infantry. To be more precise, it seems that Bao's corpse made it to the ground and crept slowly towards Six-Pack's bed. There, the two liquefied into one abnormal creature. There's not much to do about them, so the doctor considers it best to get rid of them. Everyone carries the corpses to the flushing camera, but some crewmates notice that the corpses are moving inside the bag. Believing that they are about to throw a living person out on the ocean, the crewmates open the bag. They are shocked after finding out that inside was an unidentified creature. This monster attacks one of the crewmates, but the rest manages to throw it out to the ocean. Nonetheless, no one spots that one of the creature's tentacles is still in the ship. Beck and the doctor inspect the Russian vessel once more. Upon closer examination, they observe that the skulls of the crewmates' skeletons are noticeably larger than that of a human. The doctor suggests that the Russians may have been conducting experiments with human bodies to develop aquatic hybrids capable of living underwater, as to create the ultimate soldier. Beck heads back to Six-Pack's bed. There, he discovers the canteen that Six-Pack took when checking at the Russians' box. Of course, Beck rapidly concludes that the virus was inside the bottle. After all, the only two crewmates that drank from it are the ones who passed away. One of the crewmates believes that the virus was put there purposely, in order to make the Russians drink it without their consent. But why would someone do such a thing? While the members figure their minds out, the tentacle grew stronger. Eventually, it grabs Jack in the kitchen and tries to kill him. When the rest of the workers head to the kitchen, they realize Jack is missing. So, everyone arms themselves and decides to look for Jack before it's too late. Beck considers it a good idea to lead the monster toward the flushing camera and send it to the open ocean. This has everyone content, except for the doctor, who goes to the computer room to send a secret email. In that mail, he warns the receptors about the creature they found. He encourages everyone not to find the ship. That way, the creature won't spread its deadly virus. Lastly, the doctor takes the escape suits and sends them to the ocean, just to make sure that the creature will never see the light of day. Worse luck for the doctor, who ends up contaminated by the creature. It turns out that one of the crew members got bitten by the creature, which makes him develop another monster inside his stomach. When this monster made it out, it attacked the doctor. The doctor developed a mouth with fangs in his hand. This monstrous hand was the one that ended the doctor's life. Now, there are only 3 members alive, including Beck and Willie. Their hopes are shattered when they realize that the doctor has released the escape suits to the surface and that he has sent a mail ordering them not to look for the ship. Beck's superior doesn't help either. She says that they can only reach the ship after 48 hours, which, needless to say, it's a lot of time to be waiting while a hideous monster is moving around. The lack of the superior's support makes the survivors believe that the woman is lying, and is purposely leaving them on the ship. This is confirmed when Willie makes a quick research on the computer and finds out news stating that the miners have all passed away. This is a blatant lie, since there are 3 members still alive. On top of that, the monster damages the air conduct, so the 3 survivors need to take action immediately. When they reach the evacuation chamber, they realize that the air valve is red hot and cannot be handled. The alternative is to leave the ship inside the diving suits. They are not as effective as the evacuation bubbles, but they may work after attaching a lift bag to the suits. Willie and the other member make it to their suits and escape the ship. However, Beck couldn't leave after the monster destroyed his suit. Beck does his best to confuse the monster and make it to the extra suit. He succeeds, but by the hair. The ship ends up blowing up and the 3 members find themselves on the surface. There, the sky is blue and free of hurricanes or storms, though. When Beck spots a helicopter, he fires a flare gun into the air. The helicopter pilot notices the sign and heads to the area where the 3 survivors are. At this moment, the monster appears again. One of the survivors distracts the creature so as to help Willie and Beck make it to the helicopter. Nonetheless, Beck won't give in so easily. He gets closer to the monster and throws a hand grenade into its mouth. This grenade explodes and puts an end to the monster's life. Ultimately, the helicopter safely transports Willie and Beck to the platform where they come face to face with their superior. Despite her feigned happiness at their return, Beck punches her in the face.